I'm vengeance.
Welcome back, everybody. This is Mark 98 of the Super Civil Servants podcast. My name is Greg, the Bat Daddy 52, and I have found my glorious purpose, and it is this show right here. Now I'm wondering what the Nexus event is. So I'm joined by Sarah tonight. What's going on, Sarah?
Oh my goodness! Oh, things are good. Things are good. Survived the tropical storm Elsa.
Nice.
So
Always good.
yeah, yes. Considering the fact my two dogs didn't want to go out pee in the rain, but hey, it is what it is.
Yeah.
But yeah, same old, same old. Like I said, like I was telling you earlier, I'm so excited because finally get to go to my first, like, I guess, Comic-Con type thing, the GalaxyCon, which is going to be in Raleigh the end of July. Super excited.
I may still try to see if I can buy tickets because I haven't, because I'm actually going on vacation next week, so I got to see what the finances look like after vacation, and then I might try to sneak a day in there. It's an hour drive. It's not that bad. But oh no, Sarah froze up. Ain't that well? I'm here. Oh nope, you're back.
What? I was going to say, what happened?
Oh, you froze up for a second, but you're back now. Good deal.
Our internet. We've got new internet, so it might be actually all crazy. But anyways. So Britt Spiner, and then also Matt Lautner and Ashley Eckstein. So get a little photo op with them. So I'm kind of excited. And then I think oh my goodness, was it Giancarlo Esposito from Mandalorian?
Oh yeah.
Yeah, he's gonna be there too. So Brian's all about it. Brian's like, because Gage has like the little Darksaber toy. Mm-hmm. He's like, we're gonna take that. We're gonna get an autograph on that one. So I was like, okay, that'll be fun.
Ooh, if I go, I can wear my Mandalorian mask and get a picture.
Yes, absolutely. So I'm like, do I wear a Star Trek or do I wear Star Wars? Because I've got a Star Trek. I know, because I got a Star Trek Voyager T-shirt, and then I got the Star Wars T-shirt. I'm just like, I don't know what to do.
Cut them in half and sew them together as one shirt.
I know. Brian was looking at it and he was like, I think they had something where it looked like the Millennium Falcon with like the bottom of the Enterprise. I'm like, that's sacrilege. You can't do that. You can't do that.
That
you can't
combine. I love mixed up stuff like that. That would be so cool.
Or it's either like you see R2-D2. What is like, man, I loved it. It was R2-D2. I loved him in Star Trek. It's like stuff. But I'm like, I just can't do that. That's just, to me, that's sacrilege. You got to have, I don't know, one or the other. I don't know. It's crazy. I don't know. I'll decide. We'll see how I feel that day.
I think you're probably going to lean more Star Trek than Star Wars.
Probably so. I mean, it's just.
It's your calling. It's nothing wrong with it.
But I did find a pretty pimp cosplay costume on Amazon. It's the Mandalorian Ahsoka Tano. So it's like her older, with the. So I'm like, that's like my age range. I told Brian, I'm like, that might be my costume this Halloween. We'll see how that goes.
There you go. Yeah, I've already decided my costume this Halloween. I decided a couple years ago, but I just haven't gotten big enough yet. So I'm almost there. Like, just gotta get the arms a little bigger. As I want to have an Arrow costume from season, I think it's 4. Travis would correct me, or not correct me, but let me know if I was right. Yeah. If I was here, but I think it's the one with the shows off the arms.
Yeah.
Like you can get that costume for like $150, and it looks pretty legit. So I think that's the one.
Well, that's what I'm saying. It's like I was looking at these Ahsoka Tano costumes, and I was like, damn, like for like $115, $120, I was like, now I don't know how great they are, but it has like, they're pretty legit. I'll have to send you the link to it because I was like, darn, it looks pretty legit.
Well, I'll tell you, anytime I got cosplay stuff that I'm looking at or just thinking about, I always go to Lisa from I Love That Movie podcast because she's the cosplay queen for me, and she'll point you in the right direction of where to go for that kind of stuff.
Absolutely. But I'm like, we'll see how that goes.
Yeah. But let's get to it. We took a week off last week during the summer, folks. We all have families, during the summer, and when it gets towards holidays, Thanksgiving, Christmas time, we tend to take a couple weeks off just because, we got families and stuff to do with that. Because I know next week I'm going on vacation, or actually tomorrow. through next week. So
lucky devil.
we probably won't be here next week unless I'm back next Friday. I'm not sure. But yeah, just throughout the summer sometimes and throughout the holiday season, Christmas and Thanksgiving time, sometimes we take a week off. But we're back. We got 2 weeks of stuff to talk about. We got 2 weeks of Bad Batch, 2 weeks of Loki.
Yes.
I think we should start it off just like we always do with Bad Batch, because once again, of these two shows, I enjoyed the 2 Loki episodes more than the 2 Bad Batch episodes. But doesn't mean I didn't like the Bad Batch. Still good. So let's start with, let's see, the first one was Common Ground. So I don't know how soon or how far away it was since you watched these episodes, because this
I
one
watched it, I think, last Friday. Normally, I watch them on Fridays.
Okay, because I watch both of them today, so they're fresh in my mind.
Well, I'll let you start because you'll flag my memory.
Okay,
I'm old. I can't remember anything, but some things are fleeting.
This one had a couple things that bothered me, and well, not really bothered me, but I guess you could say bothered me. One, it's a complete filler episode. Like this doesn't move the story forward at all until like the last, I don't know, maybe 2 or 3 minutes of the episode that has really not much to do with the entire episode. So it's just a complete filler episode. But I get it. You got to have those. And then I did call last time we talked about this, that when she got captured, she never got her little bow back.
You did. I noticed that.
As soon as you saw her the first time, she had that bow on her arm, and I was like, there you go. So I caught it. Like, I don't know. Yeah. They'll probably never explain it, but that was something that I caught. So,
but you know what? I caught it too because I remember you saying that.
Mm-hmm. Yep. So
I was like, what? Okay.
But but I mean, other than that, it was like I said, kind of a filler episode. It starts out on Raxus, which is a planet that I'm not aware of because I'm not as deep into the lore of this, and I don't know a ton of planets. It doesn't ring a bell for me. GS8, which is the droid for the Senator in this episode, looks like one of the bounty hunter droids that you see in Empire Strikes Back. I don't know if it's maybe just the same model. I don't know if it's an homage they're paying to it, whatever. But this episode just didn't really click with me, and this show has its ups and its downs. Obviously going to continue watching it because it's the story and I want to see it, but maybe they make this show too long. Like, I feel like they compact this and I don't know if I'd feel better about it being more compact and giving me just better story rather than filler. But then again, this could mean something,
But like watching the episode tonight, the one word that for some reason it just popped in my head was endearing.
Okay.
Because I don't really want to skip around, but if you think about some of the characters we've seen throughout this show, it's literally endearing because they're like bringing these characters in, and you're just like, oh, well, that's so and so or that's so and so, and you kind of see them. Like you said, it is filler, but some of it might be filler to fill in a backstory or fill in like a gap that might be there.
Right.
So, and especially with, like I said, I don't really want to skip ahead, but like with this episode, this week's episode, to me, and I don't, maybe that's why, because, you see characters, I was like, whoa, then you hear names. I'm like, that's Syndulla. I knew that guy. It's like, I've seen that dude before. And then the next thing you know, there's Hera and Chopper. And you're like, whoa, what's going on here? So that's why I guess like the endearing pops in, because it's giving you a filler from in the timeline from this point to this point about, things that are going, that, have gone on. Like I've kind of said with like a lot of stuff in Star Wars, it's, you have the same galaxy, but there's different events going on at the same time. It's like different stories occurring at the same time. And like I said, like, because my other is, like in the Marvel universe, you have things going on on Earth, but then you have things going on in like another galaxy, like where the Guardians are, that kind of thing. Everything is kind of at the same time, but it's just different places. And I think now with this one is just kind of like tying that in a little bit, just, or just giving backstories, which I have no problem with prequels or seeing how things started to begin with, to kind of lead you up to this point. And I think maybe that's really what Bad Batch, maybe that's what it's really doing. It's kind of, you know what happens, because you've seen Clone Wars, seen Rebels eventually.
Oh yeah, I got a question about that.
But then also, Bad Batch is like, okay, well, we'll take it. We're taking this other slice of this, of the time and events, and we're showing you what's happening there.
Right.
So I think a lot of this stuff is you're just taking certain slices of certain events within the same timeline.
Well, it's filling the cracks in the cement.
Yeah, and I do, and I feel like the Bad Batch is filler. I do, but I think maybe it's just kind of like let's kind of maybe it's Filoni's. Since his creations, and maybe it's at some point he's like, well, I want to kind of show everyone this is what was going on. Because I think the Bad Batch. They're interesting because they're the clones that weren't affected by Order 66. So it's like, okay, well, let's see what happens after this. So now you're seeing like the birth of the, Galactic Empire and all this kind of stuff. So, a lot of it you have to take with a grain of salt,
right?
Because it is a continuation of the story, albeit it's kind of prequel-ish. So that's how I'm kind of looking at it. It's,
I have two questions about everything you were just saying there. Okay, you referred to Hera and Chopper, and you were like, oh, and then you get Hera and Chopper. As a person who hasn't seen Rebels yet, are they characters in Rebels?
Yes.
Okay.
Yes.
So that makes more sense now. There you go. You get a little bit of background to that. So that's something that I wasn't aware of. But I also think the second episode of these two was better than the first for a number of reasons. And you also talked about clones that weren't susceptible or as susceptible to Order 66. I don't know anything about it. I don't know. Maybe there's something I'm not aware of. The guy Hauser, the clone that had the only one that had the paint on, the leader of the clone.
Yeah,
Did he seem like he was kind of iffy about the orders that were being given?
I think so too, because I don't know. Maybe, you don't know his background, so you don't know how. Maybe he has a loyalty to Syndulla in his family.
Possibly, yeah.
It's because it's like some of it is like, but therein, there's more to the story. So I don't know. He's not one that I recognize, but then again, I'm not.
Oh yeah, well, I wasn't sure not seeing Rebels. I wasn't sure if it's something you'd seen or not.
No, that's not one I believe that's one I remember in Rebels, because they really didn't have too many clones in Rebels.
Yeah.
A lot with Rebels, it was you had your own little group that they kind of did their own little thing. It's almost like because and Hera, she was like one of the main ones, but this is a younger Hera, so you kind of see her as, because you always kind of you get the story about like how she started, to get into like the rebellion and that kind of thing. But I thought it was really interesting to see her and Chopper, that far back to almost like, I don't want to say the beginning, but you do see her father and her, hear about her family and stuff within Rebels. So that was, and that's like another, you could take it as a foreshadowing. But then again, if you haven't seen Rebels, or either if you haven't seen Clone Wars, then you're like, well, who the hell's the Bad Batch anyways?
Right. I was gonna say, I wouldn't recommend watching Bad Batch if you haven't seen Clone Wars.
No.
But you still could and enjoy it.
And now that they're trying to tie in a little bit with Rebels, it kind of, I'm not saying it's like major because, it's like not, but, everything's all it's like Mandalorian. When you're watching The Mandalorian, then you see Ahsoka, you're like, well, who the hell's that? If you haven't seen Clone Wars, everything ties together. Everything ties together.
Well, I tend to think that, and I'm, fairly new to this animated universe of Star Wars, that a lot of Clone Wars and Rebels kind of looked at, they do have connections and ties, but for the most part are kind of looked at as separate entities. And it feels like maybe Bad Batch is just another piece of glue between the two that's showing how you went from this to this. And I'm cool with that. I get that. Like I said, filler episodes sometimes are necessary, especially when you have a long season. I don't know. I just wish the story would have progressed a little more in the first episode or first of these 2 weeks. But you're going to get those,
Yeah. And that's what was so funny too, because immediately after I finished it, I texted Nathan. I'm like,
Yeah.
What was this?
Yeah.
He's like, I don't know.
Yeah. I did like in this episode that Sid is straight up with Omega finally, and somebody just finally tells her, but like, you'd be there if you weren't so helpless. Stop acting so damn helpless. Like, I'm so glad somebody just told her that instead of people babying her. Because it's like, come on, man. Like, she shouldn't be doing this. She shouldn't be on these missions.
But that's my thing. It's like, if her only claim to fame is the fact that she supposedly has the original DNA code or whatnot, I'm like, well, okay, what else? I'm like, what else? To be sure, there's got to be something else with you too. So
yeah, I have a question about that too, and I think Nathan's in the chat room. Maybe he can answer it if we're here, or somebody else just hit me up on Twitter or communicate with me. Okay, I get that Jango Fett was the clone they based all, or the person they based all the clones off of, and why can't they just start over and base it off some other badass? Like, why is it so important that it's Jango Fett? You know what I mean? Why can't it be some other badass in the world? Cad Bane. Make clones out after Cad Bane. Can you imagine a ton of them rolling around? You would rule the galaxy, no problem at all.
Oh my gosh!
I mean, I could think of so many characters you could just be like, you know what? Okay, we don't have this DNA anymore. Let's just start over with this guy. But maybe there's some particular reason that they have to have that one. I'm not sure.
Maybe they just struck a deal with him. I don't know. Maybe it's like a royalty type deal.
I just feel like you could strike a deal with just about anybody. And I feel like you could
possibly so.
Not to knock Jango Fett or anything. He's a badass. I feel like you could probably find somebody a little more badass in the world.
But the thing about it with Omega is she has Jango Fett's DNA?
I think, yeah, she has from the first generation. So I would assume, it's the most.
Then why did she look like the rest of them?
Don't know. Yeah, you're asking.
Every time I see her, I'm like, I'm trying to look. I'm like, is there something like the eyes? Is there something? But
I noticed too.
Why is she female?
Don't know.
Everybody else, because all the other ones are males.
There's something we haven't figured out yet about this clone, about Omega, and that's why she's so special, and that's why there's 3 different groups of people after her, and one group of people trying to protect her. Actually, 2, I guess, trying to protect her. We just hadn't figured it out yet.
Yeah, I'm telling you, I hope they got to get there though. They've got to get there.
Well, I mean, this was episode 11. There's only 18 of this, 16 or 18, something like that. I'm not sure. So we're getting there. Like, they're gonna have to get
because we're gonna have to move this up a little bit.
Because I don't think they have a season 2 planned, or I don't know if they have one planned. I don't think they have one approved, or like they haven't announced anything about a season 2. So I don't know if this is a one-shot deal or if this is going to be a continuation of a story after this. So we'll just have to wait and see, I suppose.
They're gonna have to keep going. I mean, it's just like, you got to show me more.
Well, to do a second season, I don't think they have to question of will people watch it. I mean, people are going to watch it regardless. I think that I feel like if they were going to do a second season, they would have already announced it this far into it.
You would think so. You would think so.
But that could be something that spoils the end of season 1. I'm not sure.
I don't know. As long as they have a better ending than Titans.
Oh, well, that's not hard. That's not hard to do. So most shows do. I did want to talk about one thing in this first episode, though, that I couldn't believe. I found hilarious. Okay, so the objective of this episode is they're going in and trying to get this senator and rescue him, who has stood up for his people and done the right thing. Avi Singh is his name. I don't know why I wrote it down, but done the right thing, stood up for his people, and defied the Empire, or the Empire, because they're one to submit a curfew and everything else, and just basically going around planets and starting up the Empire, ruling over. Oh, dang it. Where was it? Oh, yeah. Okay. So they're getting away with him, and they decide to get into a walker, which they're calling a tank, but it's a walker, and it's later referred to as a walker as well. They get in very easily. They're very slowly walking to their objective point, and they get blasted. And the blast, shards of metal go everywhere, knocks them down, shuts the whole thing down, right? And they're like, oh, the rear axle's out of calibration. We have to fix that. And that was all they had to do. from that whole thing. And not only was that all they had to do, because after that huge blast that took the whole thing out and knocked them down, it was just the rear axle out of calibration. They get out and they take over another tank behind them. And instead of just getting in the other tank that works, Walker that works, they decide to keep fixing the one that they have that's already been shot, which I was just like, this makes no sense. Okay. Then they finally get it working. They get it up. They have a plan to go to this wall because the senators told them about the secret hideaway. They just got to get this wall and blow it up, right? And this other Walker, which is the slowest method to get away ever. You could have just ran faster and thrown a bomb at it, you know,
right?
And been a way smaller target. Is right in front of the other Walker that's now controlled by, you know, stormtroopers or clone troopers, and they're attacking them. They are directly behind them, shooting at a 100-foot long, wide target. And I mean, they're like 25 feet away from them. Literally, all you have to do is shoot forward anywhere, and you hit them.
Point and shoot.
And it shows them miss them like 6 times. And I was like, "You've got to be kidding me!" That didn't make much sense to me. And I get it. It's Star Wars. It's part of the story.
They're clone troopers, not stormtroopers. I don't. Or they stormtroopers?
Yeah. Well, I would think clone troopers are better shooters than stormtroopers.
I would think so too.
I saw that and that bothered me, and I was like, wow, that's a really lazy escape, like from them. But based on the way they've drawn these action scenes and the plans to get out, that's really lazy because. Not only whenever they got the thing up and running, the original gun that shot them, that knocked the rear axle out of calibration, stopped shooting at them.
It's like, how do you explode? It explodes. And they're saying, oh, it's just out of calibration. No, it blew the hell up. That's what happened. I mean, I don't know what you're talking about.
But yeah, that was one thing that kind of bothered me. This one's why I didn't. I mean, once again, it's a nitpicky thing. It's not like it's huge, but I just saw it and I was like, this kind of sucks. Like
there are some things that kind of take you out of it. Like you said, it's like when Omega, you know, she lost the arrow, whatever,
right?
Then boom, there it is. Okay, and then like I said, you're like completely blowing shit up, and it's like, oh, we just have to just like recalibrate it. Recalibrate what?
Right. Yep. Well, the last part of that episode is the part of the episode that's not the filler, and that is. Which I guess what you would think the whole time is Omega's got left behind with Sid, and Sid finds out she's very good at strategic games, which whatever chess game they're playing, whatever, starts using her to play for money. And the point of it is she pays off the debt they owe to Sid. So they're debt free now from Sid. Like they can do whatever they want to do, which does bring me a question for the next episode of why they're doing a job for Sid if their debt is paid off, unless this next episode, which follows the Devil's Deal, is set prior to that event happening and we just didn't know about it. You know?
Maybe.
Or maybe they're just trying to make money.
That's why she has the arrow.
Maybe. There you go. That could be what it is. There could be stuff that happened in between there that I don't know about yet. But
sometimes when you like pay attention to continuity, sometimes it just doesn't make sense. It just doesn't make sense.
Well, it doesn't make sense to me
because
a lot of times.
You're not quite sure. Yeah. Because especially in some of these stories, as they're telling it, it could be like, you know, a day before or a day after or a day of. You know, it's not like, you know, when like in movies and stuff, you know, they'll say, well, like, you know, this was, you know, today, or, you know, this is like, you know, day before, or, you know, kind of like documentaries, not to chase a squirrel, but Ron, we've been watching,
Chase that squirrel.
Yeah. Was it Secret of Skinwalker Ranch? I don't know if you've heard about this before. This is a ranch out in Utah. Yeah, it's some crazy stuff. And I'm like, just go ahead and say y'all looking for aliens. Just say you're looking for aliens. That's all you need to do. But my point is, it's like they'll say, you know, it's something happens and then it'll cut to another scene and it's like the next day. I'm like, well, duh. So in something like an instance like that, you can tell it's the next day because it's moving forward. But in this instance, like you were saying, it's like you don't know if this may have happened previously to, you know, certain events. You know, it's not like they're saying, you know, 1 week, you know, last week, you know, this happened, you know, that kind of thing. So, yeah, continuity could be, you know, a thing where you're just kind of going back and forth and, you know, that kind of thing. But
I'm not good with timelines. I'm not good with time travel. I'm not good with that kind of stuff. It's just, some of it's really difficult. Ooh, my friend Ross actually watching this, told me he didn't jump in live, so he's behind us right now. He actually explained some of these things. He said Omega had the blaster thing knocked out of her hand by Cad Bane's droid, which we saw.
Yes.
He said, but if you go back and watch, Wrecker can be seen carrying it on the ship after she was taken back.
See, leave the Wrecker. Leave it to the big brother.
I didn't see that. I didn't see that. And he says Omega and Boba are kind of like the X and Y variation of Jango. They don't change the DNA of the clone because that was what they made the deal on. It's kind of like branding. They can't change the brand without approval, and if they're, it'll screw up the.
That's my point too, because the majority of all the clones are males. So if you're saying now you have Omega, maybe that's why she's so valuable, because she's the female version.
Well, and it makes you wonder too, is she the first? Have they had ones before?
Or can they harvest certain things from her?
She's very important. We got to figure out why.
Yes.
So, and we're still yet to, but we're going to. Let's talk about some of the second episode real quick. Second episode. They're not rolling around on legged vehicles. They're rolling on wheeled vehicles, which, by the way, are much faster. If you're ever going to have something on the ground that touches the ground, put wheels on it. Don't put legs on it. Come on, Star Wars. Y'all are smarter than this. Like people in Star Wars, not the creators of Star Wars, like the people in this universe. You guys are so smart, and you're going to create things that walk on legs slowly that can be easily
except for the 2-liter walkers. Now those little suckers can be fast.
Yeah, they can be pretty fast. So they're still pretty easy to take down, though.
Yeah, but when the 4-liter ones are just not there.
Yeah. So Gobi in this one, this is where they are going to go pick up the weapons on a really badass looking planet setting where you can see, it looks like you're on a moon and you can see the planets in the background. Really awesome meeting spot. And they meet up with Bad Batch, and the Bad Batch are giving them weapons and thermal detonators, and they're from Sid. And that's why I'm wondering if maybe this episode was before the ending of last episode when the debt was paid off. But they have a tracer put on their ship, and that never comes into play.
Except for...
Well, no, I guess they do get captured and shot down. You're right.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah. So when they came back, that's how
was that Crosshair that shot him down?
Yes.
Okay. Because you never actually see his face in this. You just hear his voice and see his, his
you did see his face one time.
Did you? Okay. I must have missed it.
Yeah. You must have blinked.
No. One thing about this episode, Cham's a badass. Absolute badass. Gonna see if we're gonna see that later, but
watch Rebels.
I need to. You're right. I need to. I've got so much to watch. I'm telling you. Yeah. Like, see, here's the thing that's the problem with watching is I've got to share time with my wife, and we've got to. I watch stuff she wants. She watches stuff I want, but we just kind of share back and forth. And the way me and my wife watch television, like especially a day we both have off, like we'll turn the TV on and pick something that morning, and that'll be what we're watching for the day. The entire day. Like that's what we binge shows. So like just for example, the day her and I were both off yesterday, and Manifest started watching that the other day, and it was a recommendation from a person at work. Pretty decent show. It's not. I mean, it's not something I'm like, oh my gosh, this is so good. But it was interesting enough to keep me, wanting to watch more. I think we got through halfway through the second season. Because we just turn it on and leave it, and that's what we're doing that's not what we're doing all day. We do other stuff as well, but that's all we're watching. It
was like a barbecue show that Brian and I ended up doing. That it was like one Sunday morning or one Saturday or Sunday morning. We just started on. Next thing we know, we're like, oh damn, that's the end of it. Because it was like just one season. So yeah, I totally get it.
Well, it's what makes these shows so much different. Like I have certain shows that I watch weekly, obviously because I have to, and then certain shows that I'm just going to watch. Oh, I'm going to binge this whole thing. Give me 3 or 4 days and I'll binge the whole thing. But I don't know. Not Clone Wars, Bad Batch. It still hasn't gotten me to that point where I'm just like, man, I can't wait to see what happens next week. I mean, the ending of this episode did a little bit because it leaves you on kind of a cliffhanger. You get at the very end, you see Senator Todd get killed, which I thought that was a character that I remember seeing, but it may have been something I remember seeing from Clone Wars.
Yeah.
And not in the future. I'm not sure.
Yeah, but there's some shady shit going on too, though.
There was, yes. And they were gonna frame Cham for the murder of which he was gonna do it anyway.
Well,
so, if you're gonna get framed for it,
shadiness going on anyways, because it just sounds like they just wanted to take some duels down anyway. Because because the people listen to them. So obviously, if you take down the regime where, or the leaders that the people talk, listen to, and plus I thought it was really interesting that it was on Ryloth. I mean, because those Twi'leks, man, I'm telling you, you don't mess with them. They'll take you out.
Well, Ryloth was a planet that I recognized from just previous stuff, and I'm wondering, have you listened to or read the Thrawn books yet? Completed them?
I haven't completed all of them.
Okay. Anytime I hear the word Dunium, it reminds me of the Thrawn books, because now I'm like, oh, that's what they built the Death Star out of. I know this now. And I know that every time I hear Dunium, that's a secret mining plant for them to get stuff for the Death Star. I get that. And I'm wondering if Ryloth was mentioned in the Thrawn books. I can't remember if it was specifically, but a lot of planets, with Dunium was. So I feel smart about it. I feel like a slightly above average fan for knowing that. So cool. But I'm trying to think, is there anything else about, Bad Batch that we
I will say it's not Rebels. There's only 4 seasons. So it's not like super long. There are 4 seasons.
I definitely want to watch it, but between that and like,
but there's like maybe 15 episodes a season. So,
and is it like Bad Batch where it's like 20, 22-minute episodes?
Yeah.
Okay, so it's not too bad. I could probably push through a season in a day off.
Yeah.
So I'm gonna try, but
I don't know. I mean, it's because to me it's more like Clone Wars versus Bad Batch. It's more there's you have more of a definitive story,
right?
Not to knock Bad Batch, but I mean, it's we're still figuring out the story. We're still figuring things out. I mean, because if you watch an episode like this last one, you're like, okay, I think I know where this is going, but I'm really not sure where this is going. So,
well, the one thing that left me wondering was most episodes, when you get to the next episode, you're on a completely different story than the one in the past. Like you have some hints to it or reference to it, but you're just a completely different story. This one ended on a cliffhanger. And I think it's the first one of the series to end on a cliffhanger, right? Where you're just like, oh, well, they didn't wrap that up, I wasn't sure if the ending was they were going to have something come after that, but I was kind of surprised with the way it ended. I don't know. Just maybe they're changing the pace. Maybe it's a little different.
Cut off because I was like, maybe it was going to go to. I don't know. This one was kind of a head scratcher for me.
Yeah. Well, the ending makes me wonder why they didn't kill Cham, or is it Cham? Yeah. Why they didn't kill him? Why they killed the. I guess. Rebels. Yes, I know. Okay, so
because I mean, not to give anything away, but I mean, he does have, there is a little bit more to that. So that's why I feel like this episode was kind of like a prologue to kind of, if you know the Rebel story and who those characters are, this is kind of like almost like a filler from like the beginning to kind of see how it flows to where it is then.
Yeah.
You see what I'm saying?
Yeah. Oh yeah. Well, and the thing is too is I know that even if he is in Rebels, it still doesn't answer the question of why they didn't kill him then. Like why? I don't even know the.
There's always some political machinations going on.
It's true.
You've got to remember that. There's always something. If you're like Grand Admiral Thrawn, he's always got something going on. It may not be clear,
right,
to everyone else. But there's always some kind of machination that's going on, and 9 times out of 10, that's political.
I love trying to figure out what Thrawn's thinking, but I never can.
Sometimes it's like Thrawn's in his own world.
Man, I cannot wait to get more of this character. Get some live action with this character. It's gonna be fun.
I know. That's what I'm saying. It's like I so hope he's like tied into like the Ahsoka series, because I think that would just be fantastic.
I don't think you can do an Ahsoka series without tying him into it, because isn't he a big part of Rebels? Isn't that like the big thing? Like he's the big bad and Ahsoka's like the hero in Rebels.
See, that was my first introduction to Thrawn. Rebels was my first introduction to Thrawn, because I remember saying, it's like, this guy Thrawn, and Nathan's like, that's Grand Admiral Thrawn to you.
Yeah. Well, what's so funny is I haven't even seen an episode of Rebels, so I know nothing about Thrawn. I haven't seen the guy in motion not one time. I've seen pictures. All I've done is listen to the audiobooks, and I'm in love with the character. Like, honestly, maybe the second badass ass character in Star Wars to me.
He almost has like a Tarkin type vibe.
Yes.
But he's a lot more, to me, I think he's a lot more, maybe not quite as methodical as Tarkin, but he has this devious, I mean, it's just weird. But like I said, that's the only way I can describe his character as somebody that really hasn't seen him, live action or animated or that kind of thing.
Mm-hmm.
He's very Tarkin-ish.
Yeah.
Very dry, very to the point. Just not quite snooty, but he can. There's a few times you see him, it's like, oh, he can hold his own.
He can come off like that. Yeah, come off as very pretentious, but he's
yes.
man, the guy's got it together, dude. Like I said,
yes.
Probably the second baddest ass character I think in Star Wars. I don't know why. Just maybe it's in my mind. I have a feeling Obi-Wan could take him somehow or another. He'd figure out a way. Obi-Wan could take him.
We'll see.
Yeah, maybe we will. No, we won't. But all right. Well, you got any more Star Wars you want to talk about? Any more Bad Batch? I know, like I said, I think we have 6 or 7 episodes left, something like that. It's getting closer to the end. We're in the home stretch. We're starting the home stretch.
We gotta get going here.
Yeah.
We gotta get going. Because I mean, it's like I'm honestly enjoying what we're doing. What I'm seeing, but I'm like, okay, I need a bow. Somebody needs to tie up a bow for me, because I'm like, I don't know. It's because it's like with Clone Wars and Rebels, it's like you saw it. So maybe it's just a different little format they're trying. I don't know.
If it follows the last season of Clone Wars, then the last 2 or 3 episodes are going to be just badass, balls to the wall.
I'm not going to just blow my mind.
Yeah. And then that's the way the last season was of Clone Wars, I think. I remember the first few episodes. I mean, it was all good, but the first few episodes were not nearly as good as the last, few episodes when it all started to come together. And I think that's the point we're getting to. Like I said, I think we're starting the third act of this show right now, this season of this show. So I think things are going to start to ramp up. I think that the last few episodes are going to be really exciting. Once again, not insanely impressed with the show so far, but
I'm enjoying it.
I'm enjoying it. Yeah.
I'm enjoying it. Like I said, it's endearing. Oh Lord, not this child again. Go. Sorry.
No, you're good.
That hurt somebody.
You're good.
But yeah, I mean it's fun. I mean, like I said, it's fun. And then, like I said, just watching this past episode, that's when it hit me like endearing, because I don't know, just if you know, you know. That's all I can say.
So let me ask you, at the end of the episode before, Hunter was telling, oh, you know what? That might answer the question. Oh no, she was with him. Hunter was telling Omega that if she beat him in this chess game, that she would never have to stay behind a mission again. She wins, obviously, right? Like they never show you; it just kind of fades away at that point. But she obviously wins, and that's her thing. Now she's earned the right to be on every mission because she can win a chess game. Makes sense.
Because she can strategize. You never know.
She can strategize.
Maybe
apparently,
she's
so
proven her worth.
Maybe that is her worth. You're exactly right, and that could be a very, very strong.
Because each member of the Bad Batch, now she's a member of the Bad Batch, has their own specific little area of expertise.
But isn't that Hunter's thing? Is the strategist? I don't know.
I don't know if I'd say strategy. I don't know if I'd
Maybe
say
just
strategy.
a leader.
Yeah, it's just the way because I mean, he's the hunter, because he's like the scout, that kind of
snake.
Thing. Well, I mean, it's
Snake from Metal Gear Solid. Every time he turns around, you hear that boing. An exclamation point. But yeah, like I said, Bad Batch. It's good. It's getting there, and I'm excited to see what happens in the future with it.
Yes,
so
absolutely.
Don't know if we're gonna get a second season, but I don't know.
It's just like every episode. It's like I'm not quite sure where it's gonna go. So it's a surprise. It's like a little surprise at every episode.
Yeah. All right. Well, let's move on. Let's start talking about Loki, which I'm enjoying a little more. Well, not a little more. I'm enjoying quite a bit more than Bad Batch, but it's a completely different ball game. It's a completely different show, so it's hard to compare the two, But I am thoroughly enjoying Loki. Did you watch both episodes?
Yeah.
This week or last? Okay.
I saw I watch them every Wednesday. I'm not gonna lie.
Yeah.
Like, I can't take it. It's like I've got to watch it. I've got to watch it as soon as I can. I mean, I'm not going to stay up till midnight or anything like that, but I'll wait till that afternoon or that evening, because Brian, he's all attached to it too. So.
Oh, so he's enjoying it?
Yes. Because I watched the first episode, and then I ended up watching the the first episode again because he wanted to see it, and then we saw the second one, and he's like, "Damn it, now I'm hooked."
Yeah,
because he wanted to wait, and then binge the whole thing together. I said, "No, I can't do that. No, that's not even an option right now. We'll just have to suffer and just wait week to week, like we used to back in the good old days."
Well, I agree. If shows come out, the full season first one, I'm binging it. But if it's a weekly thing, there's no way I can wait and then binge it. I just can't do it. There's shows I'll miss and do like that, but there's no way certain shows, there's no way I'm missing like that.
Yeah, absolutely not. No. And this, the one last week, I was about to hurt somebody. I was like, I'm not going through this again. I am not going through this again. And then, of course, then I saw the cut scene. I was like, okay, that's better. I can deal with that because I was hot.
This show is confusing as hell, man. Like, well, I mean, it takes a little bit to figure out, and like I'll watch something and be like, well, what the hell did they just do? And then it'll be answered later. But it's good that it has me asking those questions, like, well, what just happened? And I called it. You aren't going to see the three lizards, and I thought for a second I was like, oh crap. I was like, I was wrong. There they are. I was like, damn it. And then I looked at it again. I was like, nah, this is not it. I was like, we're still 3 episodes away from the end or 2 episodes away from the end. This is not it. And, of course, they were robots in that one.
Well, everything can't be as they seem.
Right.
That's the thing about it. That's because it's like I'm still trying to wrap my brain around all the different Lokis. Because I'm like.
Well, question. Okay. Do you have any idea who's behind the TVA? Or like, do you know? Because we've only got the next week's the last episode, right? There's only 6 episodes. Yeah, I think this is the penultimate. Yeah, this week.
Oh Lord!
Because I'm pretty sure there's only 6 episodes. Let me double check. But yeah, like, do you have any idea what they're going to find when they walk through this hole? Because we're just going to be jumping around the last 2 weeks. So the end of this one, they're in the void, and they Loki and Sylvie are together.
Honestly, I have no idea because I was thinking that the judge, and forgive me because I can't remember names. I'm thinking she has something to do with it because she's like the higher up with the space lizards.
Yeah.
I'm like she confers with them in some way, but then I was just like, there's got to be more to this. But then again, she's probably a variant as well. But I don't know. That's what I'm saying. Just when you think, okay, well, it's going this way, it like totally veers off the opposite direction.
Yeah.
So it's kind of crazy. So
yeah, this show definitely keeps me guessing. I just there are 6 episodes, so this was the penultimate this week.
But that's the thing about it because when they put in Morbius, I'm like,
yes, that was one thing that really caught me because I was actually watching this episode this morning before I went to work. I'm getting ready for work and I'm watching it, and my wife's watching it, and that's when they pruned Mobius, and I was like, whoa. I was
exactly.
I was like, what just happened? I was like, this show just took a crazy turn because I thought for sure he was going to be a character that was in there.
They have to go somewhere else. They have to go somewhere else because you just can't take him out.
I honestly, at that point, didn't suspect that. I really thought, I was like, no, like they're playing for keeps. Like they just killed him. They just killed his character off. Like, wow, that's crazy. Like this is getting serious. I really didn't think they were going to, of course, next episode, he's back because you find that whenever you get pruned, how do they describe it? You can't completely erase everything from someone. So, you send the rest of it to the void. So that way it can't grow anymore.
It's like the catch-all.
Mm-hmm. So are Lokis the only ones that survive in the void? Because they're the only ones there. And there's a shit ton of them. I don't see anybody else there.
Across the,
That's true. He did. I don't know. Tell me about the Sith.
Maybe more than the Loki.
Maybe he is a Loki. Yeah, you never know. Talk to me about the Sith time loop, the kind of punishment, because spoilers. Last time we talked about this, Clay dropped the bomb that maybe this whole thing was just Sylvie falling asleep and being a dream because they were trying to get off that planet, that the Nexus planet, the catastrophe, and we didn't know how they were going to do it. And Clay was like, oh, maybe, it's been rumored that maybe it was just a dream. And I was like, oh, I hope it didn't happen. That's not what happened. It wasn't just a dream. That shit was real. They fucked up and they got saved by the TVA, which I don't know how they got saved by the TVA. Can you explain that to me? How they just all of a sudden show up right there at the last second? Was there an explanation of how they found them?
Maybe it was just,
process of elimination, maybe, of Nexus.
Possibly so, because
Yeah.
like the whole thing about, with the apocalypses and that kind of thing.
Yeah.
So, oh shit, I don't remember. I'm still like over the what this week. I'm like, what?
Oh yeah, it was crazy.
That's what I mean. It's like it's like almost. I should have gone back and watched it to kind of process it again.
Mhm.
Say, okay, because after that episode, like the only thing that stuck on me was like, okay, Loki just got pruned. Did I just see him go out again? Again?
Yeah.
Like I said, it took me 3 times to watch Infinity War without balling,
I get that.
ugly crying. So
well, I knew the moment Loki got pruned that getting pruned wasn't the end. Like whenever, like I said, when Mobius got pruned, I was like, oh no, that they may just like kill that character off, but they didn't, which is fine because I like the character. But I knew the second that Loki did, I was like, okay, this is not you don't kill off the main character 2 episodes before the show's over.
Yeah, there's got to be.
It just doesn't happen. So
yeah, we got something else. And then he opens his eyes and you see 3 other Lokis, and you're like, because the one I recognize, the older Loki. I'm like, okay, that's the one from like the original comics. The other 2, I don't know who the hell they were. Or excuse me, the other 3. I was like, I don't know who the hell they are.
Yes, because there was a crocodile, and he is a Loki.
And I did notice the
crown.
I'm like,
that's right.
The hell, okay. But anyways, I guess it doesn't matter. Whatever. And then it's like the one guy was like, I'm like, what is he, like a Loki Thor mashup here? Because
the one with the hammer. I was wondering that myself because he had a hammer as well. Because the younger one for some reason, he was the king of those 3, and
but he has wings on his. He had wings on his crown.
He definitely had a different crown. Yeah. Well, he's the one who killed Thor, right? That's how he claimed that was his next event. He killed Thor.
Yeah.
So I guess that made him the king to those other ones for some reason. I'm not sure.
I don't know. It was crazy. It was just crazy. It was like, I'm trying to follow this. I'm just like, oh my God, what is going on?
Yeah. I did like the one scene where they're all sitting around, and Loki gets sent to Nexus, and he gets saved by these other 3 Lokis, and they take him to their lair or whatever it is, and they're all sitting around drinking, and they're pouring wine in the alligator's mouth, and they're all telling stories of their Nexus and everything. Nexus event. And you look at the kid Loki, and he's drinking high C.
Yes.
I was like, oh, that's pretty cool. I was like, that's very responsible. The kid Loki's drinking a high C little box juice.
Yeah, exactly. Juice boxes.
Did you notice the Thanos copter?
No.
When you first go into the void, and the first time you see it, and they're kind of panning around, and it shows the outside of it, and Loki and all the other Lokis go down in the downstairs underground of their little lair. It pans up at the top, and there's the Thanos chopper up there, and then as it scrolls down, there's Mjolnir buried in the ground, like deep in the ground. I didn't understand the Mjolnir being there, but the Thanos chopper I thought was cool. I was like, that's awesome because that's canon. The Thanos chopper is canon in comics. So I thought that was pretty cool. A little Easter egg that most people probably wouldn't notice. And you could barely read Thanos on it, but it was yellow. You could definitely see THANOS. Like if you go back and watch it, check it out.
I'm going to go back and watch that. Yes. I have a feeling once I see the episode next week, I'm probably going to go back and like rewatch the whole thing just because I'm like, I know I've missed something.
I think so too. Yeah, I think so too because my wife has been kind of watching it with me, but sometimes I'd watch it without her. I think this is something she'd really enjoy if we sat down and binged it. And this, of all the Marvel shows that's come out so far, is the only one
that's one that might make more sense if you can watch episode after episode instead of waiting, because then that way it's fresh in your mind. So when you go from one episode to the next, it's like, oh, okay. Instead of waiting 7 days.
Well,
you're like, okay, I can't remember nothing.
And not to mention the one thing that bothers me the most about this show. I love this show, but the fact that you look at it and it's like, 52 minutes, and then it's got like a 3-minute intro, and then it's got like a 9-minute outro. It's like, okay, so it's really like a 30-minute show, because it has like 12 minutes of credits, which I don't understand at the end of the show how you have 6-7 minutes of credits. Like, how many people did it take to produce the show? My God.
Well, I'm telling you, and how often is it that you watch, past the credits to see an end credit or like an end scene?
Was there a cut scene in this last one? Because I didn't see it. I watched the whole thing. I didn't see it.
That's what I mean, because just like I don't know. I guess with Marvel, you always expect to have something at the end just to kind of give you a little bit of something. And, because like WandaVision, I would watch it all the way to the end. I was like, maybe there's more. Maybe there's more. Falcon and Winter Soldier, same thing. The one time, because I'm sitting there and just like utter like, did I just see Loki die again? And then it's like, oh, wait a minute. But I had heard there was a cutscene, but I didn't really pay that much mind to it because, like I said, I'm just like, what? I'm sitting there on my phone like, I'm about to just tell somebody. And then it's like, oh, wait a minute. Hold on a second.
Yeah.
Okay. All right. We're good now. We're good.
Oh, yeah.
I don't have to like blow nothing up.
Yeah. This show, like I said, it gives you that kind of, I'm excited to see the next episode. Like I can't wait to see like, oh gosh, what happens next? And next week's the finale. It's
Is
the
Dr.
only
Strange
show
gonna show up? That's my question. Is Dr. Strange gonna show up?
I highly doubt it.
I would not be surprised if there was some, allusion to that, because it's you're talking about the multiverse.
Well, the only thing
I'm not saying he is, but I'm like, I wouldn't be surprised if there was like, some mention.
The only thing that there's a couple of questions I have about how they're going to fit this into the MCU storyline, because technically, this is happening right after the first Avengers. Okay, so there's still a ton of stuff to happen. So like what I've been hearing is that this is going to lead into Multiverse of Madness and that kind of stuff, and it's going to introduce Kang the Conqueror. Well, that's cool, but is it going to do that in the timeline right after Avengers when you still got this entire Thanos thing going on and you still haven't explained mutants and where they're at or what's going on with them? So you're going to say, like in my mind, they're saying all this stuff, which I still don't understand how it's happening. I'll get to that in a minute. Is happening in the background of everything in the Infinity War saga, like in a different timeline. Because
put them back.
I don't know, because here's the thing. I'm still trying to wrap my head around, if Loki was removed from that timeline, then he can't be there to do all the other stuff in Infinity War. I still don't understand that yet.
You have to put him back.
So is that must be what's going to happen at the end? Is he's got to get put back at the end, right? That's the only explanation.
It's got to.
So then how is this going to lead into Multiverse of Madness or introduce, other characters? Unless is it going to be just a story they introduce in the background? And okay, we're going to put this in the back burner for the next 6 years, 7, 8, 10 years in this universe. And after Infinity War and after everything else, oh yeah, this stuff happened. Or is this a story that happens in the background of the Infinity War saga that we didn't know about? Was the Multiverse of Madness something that happened during then? Because I don't think it was.
Well, their whole timeline thing is, okay, especially like with Avengers going back and forth and like, oh, well, that was supposed to happen. Well, how is that not screwing everything up? So, I mean, it just, and then if you're pruning all these other little timelines, like all these variants, so you're taking them and putting them into the TVA, having them work for you, but yet you have these other Lokis that are sitting in the void, but they couldn't tame them to put them in the TVA?
That's what I'm wondering. Lokis are the only ones you see there. You don't see anybody else. Is it only because Lokis are survivors, or is it because Lokis are the only ones sent there? They said in the episode they were the god of outcasts.
Yeah, they must be, because, I mean, you don't see any Thors. Just Thor.
You don't see anything. I mean, you see a Thanos chopper, so I mean, maybe Thanos was there at some point in time.
I don't know. The only thing I can think, if you're going along with what you're saying as far as timeline, like the timeline that's going on, they have to put him back, because if he left at that point, you still need to have that Loki to do all the craziness that he did in order to get to where you are. So
what you're saying is they have to put him back for it to make sense, right? For it to make sense. Yeah, I agree.
Because you're literally taking him out. If you take him out, would it not affect the future? Which you're not at the future yet. So therefore, his presence within it would not have occurred. And see, that's what I always thought. I'm like, because if you're taking all these variants out of this,
Well, see, because what they normally do is they normally catch the variant in their timeline. They go and they reset the timeline, but they didn't capture Loki. Like, well,
At
I
that
guess
point.
you're right. They did capture him in the desert in that timeline, but they didn't capture him at that point, so they couldn't reset the timeline and just put him back there. I don't know. That's what I'm saying. This time travel stuff, it's gotten me crazy, and I don't understand it. And I don't know if it's Marvel not making sense or me not making sense. The more likely answer is me not being able to understand it.
That's why you need to watch the Tomorrow War. I'm telling you, you and your wife.
No, I can't because that's a different set of rules, I'm sure, for time travel, right?
But it makes sense. That to
Okay.
me, that would
Okay.
make sense. It
Okay.
makes sense.
Terminator makes sense to me. Back to the Future makes sense to me.
Well,
Heck,
the Tomorrow War, it
even
makes sense to me. It makes
even the
sense.
stuff in Justice League made sense to me.
Speaking of Justice League, we did get Steppenwolf today. So
nice,
yeah.
Nice. I like
Batman's
that.
coming tomorrow.
When you got them all set up in
Tuesday.
display, I want to see it. So
yeah, we're just waiting for Batman. So that's all we're waiting for. Which
I'm
still pissed off. They don't have a Justice League Wonder Woman.
That is irritating. Let's write a tersely worded letter.
I guess I'll just have to grab like one of the first, because I have the gold and I have the gold the Eagle one, but I don't have the other one, so maybe I can just get the Justice League. Like the Justice League one, I guess is what it is. Yeah. No, that's bullshit. Oh, this is a boys' club.
That's basically what it looks like. All right, let me see. I got some notes here. Okay, I mentioned it earlier. We didn't talk about it, the Sif scene. How cool was that? See Sif in there. And that was his punishment, was basically just getting knocked around by Sif the whole time.
To me, that was kind of like a humbling experience to him. Because I think at that point, it's like she came in and told him how big a piece of shit he was and all this. Mm-hmm. And he's like, I know, I get it.
Yeah. Well, after you get punched in the face so many times. Yeah. Well, and what was the whole, he cut her hair off because he thought it'd be funny. That's a dick move. That's
I'd be pissed as hell too. I'd be pissed as hell too.
You can do that to a guy maybe, and it's not as dick of a move, but to do that to a female, that's a pretty dick move.
Yeah, that's but it was like towards the end, he's just like, I know, I suck. I thought it was funny. It won't. My bad. I'm sorry. And
you're right.
It was kind of like a humbling experience for him, because normally, like, he's like, I don't give a shit, because he can usually poof himself out, and he couldn't poof himself out.
Well, he can take a fucking punch. I'll tell you that, because he got knocked around a few times by Sif, and she wasn't playing around.
No, she mad. She was mad.
What do you think about Hunter B-15, the one who was in the first episode that we were talking about? That I didn't like her armor. It was from Fifth Element. It seems to the armor is slimmed down a little bit. Maybe they listened to me, even though they've already filmed them. Maybe they listened to me and slimmed the armor down. But she's one of the ones now. Her and Mobius have both started to have doubts because they realized they had.
Well, Sylvie actually showed her.
Mm-hmm.
It was because I guess whenever she enchants whomever. Because the only time she really enchanted her was when they were in that store. Remember when they had just first found her, when she was setting on those charges or whatnot. And so, and I guess after the fact, maybe there was something that kind of clicked in her mind. Because with the other one, she like straight went in and enchanted her and brought her to because that was like, episode, week before last?
I think it was it was like 2 or 3. Yeah. Into 2 or beginning of 3.
That's when Sylvie mentioned something, like they were, everybody in the TVA were variants, and you're like, oh. But I mean, I thought that was kind of interesting too, because, when you always have a character that has this self-awareness, it really, it just kind of changes the demeanor. So that's why I'm wondering if Sylvie's going to kind of go through and, bring everybody back to self-awareness. But then again, where do you go from there? Even if you are self-aware, it's not like you can really get back to your timeline. And, and then Morbius, because Sylvie didn't really attack, do anything to Morbius, but apparently Morbius can remember, or, at least snippets of it.
I guarantee you he'll have something to do with jet skis.
Yeah, he was already saying that.
He's mentioned jet skis like 4 times in this series already. So it'd have something to do with jet skis, I'm sure.
But I just wonder if everybody's going to reach self-awareness by, the last episode. Because it seems like that's where everybody's heading to. And maybe it is just a self-awareness. Maybe that is how the TVA crumbles apart. But then again, will there be like a, multiverse of madness?
Well, there are a lot of questions left up in the air at the end of this episode. Like, I'm wondering if the judge
I know I can't remember her
is
name.
one of the people behind I can't remember the name either. Is one of the people behind the whole thing, or if she legitimately is trying to figure it out, but
Or
doesn't
is it
trust
Miss Minutes? It's Miss Minutes.
It could be Miss Minutes. You don't know, because you could tell whenever that they were definitely working together to try to set up Sylvie and get her captured. I don't know. That was right before Sylvie pruned herself, because I guess she realized she'd already had the secret that when you prune yourself, you don't die. So I guess she was going to go try to find Loki. But let's talk about Loki and Sylvie and the void, because they kind of explain the void as the end of time, right? It's where everything collides. And the objective of the timekeepers is they're trying to make the void or the end of time a utopia, which, what a nice story.
Yeah, it looks great.
Yeah. What a nice story.
Designing that, just 10 out of 10 on that one.
But you see the void, and in the void is what is the Eliath? Is the shark, as they refer to it, Eliath.
Yeah, there's something up with that. And see, that's what Sylvie's thing is, because she's like, if I can enchant it, then I can figure out what's going on.
Yeah.
Because she said she touched it, though.
Well, when she first came in the Nexus, when the branch reached out to her and she felt it, she connected with it and she felt something. That's how she knew she could enchant it, right?
Right.
I want to ask, though, how come every time Marvel does a floating head or a cloud, it's cool, but the one time DC did it, everybody calls it a fart cloud and didn't like it? Like, come on, man. Like, this is another example of floating cloud with a face. And I'm sure everybody's like, oh, it looks awesome. They did a great job. But, Parallax, F that guy. They did horrible with that. Like, come on, man. Give me a break. Sorry, I got to get that in.
Marvel, they're the darlings. They can't do any wrong.
Marvel does a great job. I say that picking. I love Marvel. They do a great job.
Yes. Because even these series, I mean, WandaVision, Falcon Winter Soldier, Loki, I feel like I'm watching a damn movie. I mean, It doesn't feel like a series. It feels like it's just just the continuation of the films that we've watched over the last 10, 11 years.
Sadly, if you took Loki and you cut out the intros and the outros of every show and just put them together and match them as one, you'd probably get like a solid 2-hour movie.
Probably would.
Like a real solid. And that's basically what they're giving us is a solid 2-hour movie. And I get that. That's cool. And I like to have the feature whenever I'm, at home. I can fast forward through the credits to see the end credit scene. That's a cool feature.
And that's the thing about it, because when we binge it after everything's done, within the next couple of weeks, everybody's going to binge it once again. And that way you can just click right.
Uh-oh. Froze up.
See shit you didn't see before. You're like, oh, there you go. That makes sense. Perfect sense right there.
Yeah. So let me ask you a question. We're coming up on the finale. We see the little bit of what looks like a spark between Sylvie and Loki there at the end. Are we going to get a love interest between these two? Do both of them survive? Is there a future for these two? Or like you said, do we have to return Loki's back to their timeline? Does she return back to her timeline as a childhood and get to live her childhood? How does this end?
Weird. It'd be too weird and too simple for them to end up together.
Yeah.
I just think that would just be too, because
too on the nose.
It can't be that simple. Plus, would you call that self-love?
I don't know. I think you call it masturbation. I'm not sure. But
all right, Nathan.
I'm not sure what it would be, but
because it's like yourself, but a different version. I don't know. It's just kind of.
He even says that in here. He's like, "She is me," and it's like, okay. So if I saw myself as a female, would I want to, get it on?
That's the thing about it. It's like if you meet, your soulmate, you're like, oh, we're the same. No, literally, they are the same.
Yeah.
This is no bullshit. They are the same.
Yeah. The only thing that was weird was they do show the back or the clip, and I don't know if it was last week or this week's episode where she actually gets taken. Where it shows them go and take little baby Loki. She has dark hair, and then she's a blonde later. Loki has dark hair. That's when I saw it, I was like, did they go in and take Loki when he was a kid? Because I couldn't tell if it was a little boy or a little girl. And then I realized, okay, that was Sylvie, but she had dark hair in that flashback, and she is
case in point. My son had blonde hair when he was little. I mean, he had blonde hair, and I'm thinking,
Yeah.
did I have a blonde haired baby? No, I did not, because that shit grew out.
Yeah.
So,
I guess that's a good point. I guess it can change, but I don't know.
she has
I'm
good
just
colors.
maybe. Yeah. I'm just picking up on the love interest between these two. You know, the blanket scene. You know, where he conjures a blanket and they're cold, and it's like, okay. It looked like I thought for a
Yeah.
second they were gonna have like a little kissy moment, and I was like, oh, don't do it, because I don't necessarily
Maybe
want that.
it's
You know?
like maybe it's kind of like where you kind of you discover your self-worth. You know, you realize that maybe you're not as a big a screw up as everybody's made it out to be.
Yeah.
Maybe you kind of learning your,
or just
how can I
realize
say it?
you're not alone. Like you're
Yes,
not the only one
exactly.
who feels this way. You're not alone.
Exactly. So
I
that,
get that.
like I said, you know, getting your self-worth to where, you know, you're just like, you know, every time you turn around, I might have the best plan, but it still blows up in my face and I still screw up and, you know, I always lose and, you know, this kind of shit. So maybe at some point it's like, okay, there's somebody out there, you know, hey, even
Who
though
can
we
feel
are
me?
the same
Yeah.
person, you know, hey, you know, I get it. I totally get it. But then again, we're not total shit.
Yeah.
So I don't know, because I just think it would just be too weird for them to.
It would be, and I don't know how you write it into the story in the future. Like, but I don't know how they're going to write this in the story in the future. Like I said, one episode they're going to have to blow my mind with some stuff that I was like, I did not see that coming. You know, and I'm sure it probably will, and it'll probably be in like the last 10 minutes. It'll be like, holy shit, that's what they're
I'm
going to do.
hoping, because I'm like, all I know is like, look, you better not die. Because I don't think I can come back.
I got a pretty good feeling this Loki is not going to be moving forward in the future.
But
Loki met his end with Thanos.
He saw that. So he knows.
But I think that's going to be the
happens.
reality. I think it's going to be the reality.
But, I just can't.
Because we don't know if any other Loki saw their actual death or not. Like actually saw their death or not. He actually saw his death.
Tis true. Tis true. But the rest of them, you don't know how long they've been in the void. You don't know how long they've been there, because that's just damn weird.
Yeah.
And what the hell does an alligator Loki do?
Rules the alligator Asgardians, I guess. You know?
That's some Howard the Duck shit right there.
That was
got to be.
Put in there purely for comic relief. And it was just so we could bite that dickhead Loki's hand off. You know? It was funny because you could tell the one who was going to be the most dickish because he was obviously the politician. He had the vote for Loki thing on. I was like, oh, he's a politician. Of course he's a dick. So you just can't help it. That's natural. That was a good joke too. I know that's why they put that in there. So ending of this episode, you know, Loki and Sylvie have come together, and I did like the sacrifice at the end from the other Loki. You know, he's made it well aware that he can conjure things so believable that it can fool even, you know, the TVA, which it did. That's how he got away.
Yeah.
And they do bring up the point that whenever he was captured, he wanted to come back and do good. He decided he wanted to change. And they say that they're like, every time we try to change, they stop us. You know, so it's making the TVA to be out to be bad guys, and Loki's out to be not so bad guys necessarily whenever things happen. But
it's coming out like the TVA. I mean, they're not as truthful and forthcoming as it appears to be.
They're definitely not. Definitely.
So there's like some, like I said, you got some kind of machinations in the background that's going on. So you're just wondering, like, what exactly is what's the end game? Yeah.
Well, and that's what we're going to find out too. Because like I said, I did like the old Loki sacrifice where he distracted Eliath and to give Loki and Sylvie enough time to enchant him. You know, because they discovered basically, I guess they said it's alive so it can be killed, which they didn't kill it, but it's alive so it can be enchanted. So they enchanted it. And, you know, you end with this portal opening up and you see an old building, a castle. I'm not sure what it was. I'll go back and watch it again. But I'm assuming that's where they're going to find what's behind the TVA, because one, it's the finale. And two, they even said that this is obviously a guard dog. He's guarding the end of time. And whatever he's guarding, if you can get by him, you can figure out what's there.
It's like Cerebrus, the three-headed dog.
Yeah. Oh, one question I wanted to ask. So we're going to find out what happens next week when they go to the portal. How did Mobius get that temp pad? Because somehow or another, he just has one. Maybe I missed it. I'm not sure. But, you know, right before they go to enchant Eliath, Mobius just leaves. We pulled out the temp pad and just leaves. Where did he get it from? Like, he was pruned. He didn't have one down there. Did he? Did his temp pad get pruned with him?
You're asking me shit. I'm going to go back and watch now.
Yeah, I'm going to have to go back and watch it too, because like I said, it very well could be something I missed. But I remember them mentioning having a temp pad and like, oh, well, that's just the easy way out. It'd be great if we could just do that. There's got to be one lying around somewhere, you know, blah, blah. And then Mobius just has one. And I'm like, whoa, this doesn't make any sense. But once again,
maybe
it could be something I missed.
Pocket when he got pruned. I don't know.
I don't know either. Like I said, maybe questions that will be answered. Maybe something I missed. I'm gonna go back and watch it again, and I'll answer it myself. You know, if anybody knows, hit me up and let me know.
What a problem!
No. Here we go. My boy Ross, he's in the chat. He says Sylvie took it, then she pruned herself. Okay. So if you get pruned with I'm assuming then if you get pruned with a temp pad, then it comes with you.
But then if you get thrown on a train, it gets smashed out of hell.
Loopholes.
It's almost like I want to rewatch. If next week is going to be like the last, you know, like the season ending or whatnot, it's like I want to go back and watch everything before that and then watch that one, so that way everything can kind of be fresh in my mind.
Well, like I said, if you fast forward through the intro and the outro, you can do it.
Exactly.
So,
which I'll actually be traveling.
He can't remember the judge's name either. Yeah, it's something that starts with an R. I do remember that. You're right. It's something that starts with an R, Ross, but I can't remember what the name was.
Which it kind of makes me wonder about what the relationship between her and Mobius was, because it seems like they were kind of buddy.
It did in the beginning, but now it seems like she's just all about, you know, preserving the timeline, the sacred timeline, the timekeepers. Like I said, I'm wondering if she's confused and just doesn't want to believe that everything she's stood for is not real, or if she's one of the people who's behind it.
I don't know.
We don't know. Maybe her.
Self-awareness is going to come from. I'm telling you, it's where that self-awareness is going to come from.
Mm-hmm. We're going to find it a lot next episode. So,
but then who made it? And then, like I said, if there's no space lizards, who making up the story of the space lizards?
Well, I mean, I know it's been rumored that it's been, you know, we're going to get introduction to Kang the Conqueror on this. Maybe there's something pulled behind the strings, but once again, it doesn't make sense to me about the timeline, because this is right after the Avengers. So like, you've got to explain to me how this is all happening, or wrap up something that's all happening where it's not happening in the background of the Infinity Saga. Like, because it can't be, because Loki's in the Infinity Saga later. Like, it can't be in the background of this. I've got next week. and I think I am going to do what you're talking about doing, because I just mentioned it. If you just cut out the intros and the outros, you can binge the whole season in
it was
an hour and 45 minutes.
Yeah.
So set 2 hours out and do that. I might do that too.
Like I said, I'm traveling next week, so it's like maybe that Tuesday night while I'm in my hotel room, I can just be like, or on the plane, just download everything and just go ahead and watch it.
Yeah, not a bad idea. It took me. I was trying to download these episodes earlier. It took me forever to download the episodes. It may have just my phone or the service where I was at, but it took me forever.
Maybe that's what I'll do. Maybe I'll just download it and just watch it on the plane. Yeah.
Yeah.
That sounds good. Because I'm coming back Wednesday morning, or like Wednesday morning, so I won't be home till like noon. So then that would be, I can go ahead and watch all that shit, and then
cut out.
We'll see. Maybe I freshen my brain. I might have to like record myself like some notes, maybe.
Well, it would be nice. You know, it was like whenever Justice League came out, I watched Man of Steel and BVS for like the 10 millionth time each one before it came out, just to refresh my memory, even though I've seen those movies 1,000 times.
I can't remember everything. I do not have a mind like a steel trap. I can't remember everything.
Well, I don't with something like this, because I've only watched each episode. I watch almost every episode twice now. But I do want to go. You're right. Going back and watching it as like a movie right before the finale will be great. I'm interested to see how they wrap this up. I'm more interested to see how they're going to, like I said, intertwine it with. Is this going to be the introduction to Multiverse of Madness? Is it going to be Kang the Conqueror? How are they going to tie this into the whole story? Because I'm with you. Loki's got to return to that timeline, or they've unraveled everything for me, unless they can explain it, which I'm sure they can. And you know, there actually might be some kind of explanation, believe it or not, with the next show they have coming out. Maybe that's why I saved it for last, is the What If. You know, which I saw the preview for the other day, and I'm excited. Are you?
Because I remember, because when they mentioned, or they were talking about the What If or whatnot, because I remember seeing the Agent Carter, and I was just like, oh, this is interesting. But now it's like, oh man, there's like an unlimited like story, like just oh man, they could just like unleash the genie on this one because it looks like it's gonna be crazy.
Yeah.
Like I said, all these what ifs. What if this happened? What if that happened? Like I said, I saw Gamora with Thanos's like his little swords or whatever. I'm just thinking, oh, what if she took over? I'm just like, oh man, just imagine. It's like what, like I said, the whole what if thing. It's like if you have one character that switched with another, and just how would it take off? I mean, it looks like it's gonna be crazy, and it's like completely off canon. It's a completely like you can just take it anywhere you want because, like I said, it's a what if.
We don't know. We don't know. They
It's a
may
what
run
if.
it. Yeah.
Like I said, what if Sharon? What if Peggy Carter? If she took the serum instead of Steve Rogers?
It's a cool concept, and I think what Marvel's trying to do, and they're doing a great job of it, is they are trying to bombard their fans with this multiverse idea. Like, hey, anything can happen.
Yes.
And that's cool. I get that because that's where they're going in the future, I believe, is into multiverses and everything. So they are really hitting you hard with everything they can with it.
Let me ask you this: whenever you are watching, or like if you're like reading in the comics or you're watching any in the films or any of that, don't you ever at some point in time think to yourself, what if these characters did flip? I'm always asking myself, I was like, well, what if, this did, instead of this happening, this happened, what would happen? And
what if
now
the
we're
mouse never stepped over the time machine? The rat,
exactly.
Excuse me. What if Splinter never saved Ant-Man?
Exactly.
So,
I mean, and that's the thing. And now we have the opportunity of just, they're, picking and choosing and just saying, okay, well, let's just switch it up and let's just say, okay, let's just split it off. Let's say this happened instead of this. So, I mean, it's just, you've always asked yourself that. I know I have.
Well, I like it. I mean, I love that kind of stuff. I mean, you've seen some of the artwork I do for the show. I'm always mixing and matching stuff up. I love seeing different things put together. It's pretty cool, the ideas. And I mean, stuff you'll never see. I'm always mixing Star Wars and Marvel and all that good stuff. DC. But yeah, I like the concept of what if. What I love the most about this, I think, is the artwork. Like, I love the way
that animation looks killer. It looks like it just came straight off a comic book page. I mean, it's just, there's something about it. It's 2D yet 3-dimensional. It's weird. It's just like that weird. I don't know. It's kind of like when you're like watching like Sin City. That it's almost like a graphic novel coming to life. So visually it'll grab your attention, and then of course, hopefully, the story, that'll grab your attention as well. So I think it's going to be really something to watch. I mean, it seems like everybody's excited about it. So
I'm now that I've seen the trailer, we're about to watch the trailer in a second, but Ross does have some comments here about Loki that I want to share. He says, I don't think Loki is going to link the future movies as much as it's trying to open your mind to the possibility of multiverses. The MCU is known for building. Great point. He also says this is kind of like the scene from Doctor Strange where the Sorcerer Supreme knocks Strange out of his body and to open his mind. The Loki I think Loki is meant to get you ready for some crazy shit. I 100% agree. That's what I'm saying. I think they're going heavy strong with the multiverse.
That Loki out of that one timeline.
Oh yeah. I don't think. Yeah, this definitely doesn't answer that question about how that's going to work. But I think he's absolutely right. It is, and it's like I was just touching on, is they're throwing the idea of multiverse at you. They want you to get this idea that everything that has to be canon, we can do what we want to do. Anything can happen, type deal.
Yeah, because from like with Endgame, and you had the Sorcerer Supreme. She was telling Bruce about, okay, this is certain things you have to do, and then you have to go back and fix it.
And that was where they established their rules. Yep.
Yeah, and then you're finding you got this TVA, which whatever happened, with them screwing up the timeline and then going back and fixing the timeline, that was already predetermined. So I think the only thing about the whole Loki thing with their idea of timeline, to me, I feel like it takes away free will. It's like, it almost sounds like it's free will. Free will equals variance.
Yeah. I think this
And
whole
then you get
TVA.
punished for it.
I think the whole TVA and preserving the timeline thing, the sacred timeline thing, is all BS anyway. I think this whole thing is BS. I think we're gonna find that out next episode. That this whole thing is BS.
It's almost like it's an illusion. Like they're trying to, I don't know. It's hell. For all we know, it might be another Loki handling it.
Oh, here we go. Ross says Cat went back to fix all they messed up. Almost, except for the fact that he didn't go back. That he actually went back and left his life. So that's the little part they leave out. So that would have changed the timeline. And then he said Loki was pruned because he disappeared during that happening. Yes, you're right. But in order for everything that happened to happen, for them to go back in time, Loki has to be existent in that universe. Mm-hmm. So in order for the Infinity Saga to happen, to continue, for Loki to have his mother killed, for what was the second Thor movie? Dark World. Yeah. Mm-hmm. In order for that to happen, Loki has to be present in that universe. So in order to fix this, he has to be brought back to that timeline in that spot. Otherwise, nothing, all this in my mind, and like I said, I'm not the smartest guy. There's answers they're probably going to have for this that I'm sure, are going to make me feel pretty dumb. And I'll, gladly accept that and eat that crow and take them. They do. So, because I'm sure it's going to be really good. But for me, in my mind, Loki has to be there for that to happen. For everything in Infinity War to happen.
He's an integral character. I mean, mm-hmm. He's an integral part of like the whole, like I said, Infinity Saga. I mean, mm-hmm. It's just
because without him, there's no Ragnarok. Well, the Ragnarok still happens, but the movie, like everything that happened in Ragnarok doesn't happen. Like you just got to have him there.
There's always that Thor has always got to have Loki.
Mm-hmm.
There's always got to be, that. So it's, yeah, I don't know. I don't know. Like I said, I mean, I want to be surprised because I love it when I have thoughts or ideas and I'm like totally off base because I'm like, okay, that's cool. That's not really the direction I was going, but
oh yeah,
that's what makes it interesting.
Let me get through this ad and we'll watch the What If trailer because I loved this artwork. So
yeah, because I remember seeing the animation to begin with. I was like, man, this is like pretty cool because I was thinking. Oh, yeah. I mean, it's not quite an anime style, but it's like I said, it feels like it's a graphic novel jumping off the pages, and I
motion comic.
Love that.
Yeah, almost like a motion comic. I love motion comics. Yeah. All right. Oh, whoops. Hold on. I got to do this real quick. Let me see.
Don't forget the audio.
Yes. All right. Let me put that here. All right. Here we go. This is why I have multiple screens. All right. Let's share this. Share screen. Share audio. Screen 2. All right, you ready to watch this?
Yes, let's do it.
I've only seen it once, so this is going to be like this is a second viewing for me. So
yes.
Look, Ross says it can be everything he's saying can be justified. It's not over chat. All right, I got you. I'm gonna call you when I get done with this. We're gonna do it. All right, got it. All right, here we go.
Yeah, peace. I love peace. I'd be out of a job with peace.
Like I love this artwork. And I love they're going to reenact some scenes from the old movies and just give you a different story of it, So Killmonger saves Stark.
Yeah, that's crazy.
Great way to start out. That'd be really cool.
Reality.
It's changeable.
See, the artwork looks different in different scenes, Like some of it's got that kind of Scanner Darkly type style artwork looking, and some of it looks more like a motion comic, and some of it looks more like just like a cartoon.
I see freaking Howard the Duck. I mean, why in the hell you gotta have that shit in there? Oh my gosh.
I mean, why not?
Jeez.
So this is one thing that's I always kind of questioned about Thor and the MCU, and I get it's just a character choice. There's Sharon Carter as Captain America, Captain Carter.
Well, she's actually Captain in Britain.
Britain, right? Yeah. How come in the comics Thor doesn't have a beard? In the movies he does, and in this, well, no, actually, I just saw him with a beard. So we've seen him with and without a beard in this. Okay.
Well, at least
there's no answer to it.
At least he's not fat.
That's true. I'd rather him be beardless than fat.
Mm-hmm.
or have a beard than be fat.
Love this one right here. It's like, what is that supposed to mean? It's like, oh, never mind. Sorry.
Did you know? Yeah, I was gonna say, did you notice he said a Ravager? I was like, okay, cool. So he's definitely with. Yeah, this is gonna be a really cool mashup. I like the idea of this.
I think it'll pop up with some characters like you're just like I don't say you forgot about them, but you're just like you don't really think that much of.
Well, you can take a character that's not as big of a character, and you can give them a bigger story. You know,
I think
I'm just wondering. Do we know how many episodes this is? Is this going to be like WandaVision and you know Falcon Winter Soldier and anything like 6 to 8 episodes?
I'm not sure about that one. I don't know. I mean, I'm still kind of like in the afterglow of just seeing that trailer. So
yeah,
I'm not absolutely. I don't know because I think it's the fact they finally gave a date. Seems like I remember seeing that because you know it's kind of like okay, we've got this coming along, but now we finally given a date. So I don't know if the episode count has been given yet or not.
Okay, I bet you
that's above my pay grade. So
I hear you. Well, the only reason I wonder is because if this is a popular show, this seems like something they could just do. I mean, you could do endless number of stories. You know, this could be of all these TV shows they come out with. One, not only it's not live action, and two, you could continue these stories forever.
You're not really following canon. I mean, you're kind of like just you can come up with as many stories as.
Hell, I'll write a story. Let me play with 2 Marvel MCU characters. I'll write something up soon to them. Shoot, just give me some royalties. It'll be good.
Absolutely, absolutely.
But yeah, I'm excited for it. It's going to be fun. Marvel's done a good job with their show so far. Obviously, I feel like they're getting better as they go. You know, Loki's my favorite of all the ones that have come out so far. This one could surpass it. I'm not sure if it will. This will be a really, really fun show, but it's going to be a different kind of show for me. You know, I don't know because I don't think this has any implications on anything in the future of Marvel. Correct? This is totally just off the wall stuff. So this one won't matter as much. It'll be a little different for me, but I'm going to enjoy it.
Oh, I just happened to look it up because like I said, I'm kind of curious. It said it's going to consist of 10 episodes.
Okay.
And then it's part of the Phase 4 of the MCU. A second 10-episode season is in development.
Oh, okay. So they're doing. So I'm assuming they're doing one season that's just not part of anything, and then the second season is part of Phase 4. Is that what we're to assume?
I think all of it might just be. Hell, if I know, man.
Yeah.
It's like you try to. It's like because I'm just kind of curious how that could even be part of the phases at all, unless you're just kind of throwing out that first 10 episodes. And then maybe the next ones could be a part of it. I don't know. Because honestly, I mean, it's the phase they have going on right now. It's like, because, Black Widow just came out, which, I mean, it's a prequel to everything, which why couldn't they have thrown this in within the, the 10-year MCU?
Mm-hmm.
Why are you going to wait until it's like a post?
You talking about Black Widow or the what if?
Yeah, that's what I'm talking about. That's what I'm talking about. Black Widow. I'm like, why would you come out?
Black Widow is about 17 movies too late.
Absolutely.
Well, not 17.
Everybody had their own movie. Why did they wait for her?
Yeah. I got to be honest, like I didn't even know it was coming out this week. I'm just not excited for Black Widow. I'll see it eventually. I'll definitely see it. Eventually, but I'm not going to pay $29 at home to watch it. And if I go to the movie theaters in the next couple weeks and there's, it's on and I want to see it, then I'll see it then. But it just doesn't get it going for me. I mean, it's nothing against the character or anything. It has nothing to do with being a female because I saw Captain Marvel in theaters. I loved it. I bought a Captain Marvel t-shirt at the theater. I paid the up price for the Captain Marvel t-shirt at the theater. So it's nothing to do with females.
The thing about it for me,
it just doesn't interest me. I don't know why.
I'm going to sit here and watch this film and be like, oh my gosh. But then I know how it ends. You already know how it ends.
I think about that, but we all the time watch Star Wars stuff. I mean, the entire prequel series was predicated on something we already know how it ends.
Yeah.
So that doesn't bother me as much. I don't know why. I'm just not. It just doesn't get me going. I
didn't like the way she went out though. I'm just like,
I hated the way she went out. Yeah.
I get it. Yeah. I mean, it was very heroic, but I'm like, it still sucked. I'm like, seriously?
But you needed that. You needed that. That gave you that emotional. Made it real. That gave you stakes in the whole game.
And it just didn't help because I was already ugly crying throughout the whole damn movie anyway. So it wasn't matter.
Yeah.
Son of a bitch.
That movie, hey, I turn that movie on every once in a while. That movie can still get you to tear up. I know what's happening. I can say it word for word. I can say it while it's going on. Still is like, tugs a little bit. The Scott scene with his daughter. Oh my gosh. Yeah, there's a lot of scenes in that movie.
I have to like psych my. I'm telling you, I don't know what it is about Loki's scene. I have to psych myself up every time. I sit there like, all right, I'm good. I'm good. I'm good.
I remember my wife's reaction when she saw that scene. She couldn't believe it. She was like, "Oh my gosh, did they really just?" Because she loves Loki. Did they really just do that? And I was like, "Yeah, they did it. They really did it." I mean, I hate he was one of the characters who was sacrificed, but like for good. And
it just didn't help because like I got hit right there. Then it was like boom, 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 boom. Like I don't even know why I was like, I shouldn't watch that in the theater.
And to be honest with you, I guess I really kind of got to look at Loki the same way. This is a story about a character that I know how it ends. It's just stuff that happened beforehand.
Yes,
the difference is they have the opportunity to rewrite this character back in. I don't know if they're going to do it. And I don't know if they're going to do it well if they do go that route. But with Black Widow, they don't have the opportunity to write her back in. Like she's dead, and I get it. And Loki is dead too.
But that's the thing about it. And also the other Lokis, they were like, we don't die.
Right.
That was so interesting.
We survive and we escape.
Yeah. I'm just like.
We've definitely seen Loki die. That's for sure.
I know. And I'm telling you, it was so it broke my heart when he saw it too. Because he was just like, I'm like, I know how you feel.
Yeah. Gosh, maybe want to go watch that movie now.
I know, right?
But yeah, that's about it for the What If. I don't know a whole lot about it other than what the preview was. It looks really cool. I'll definitely check it out. Marvel,
we got to
keep it going. We got
a month. We got a month. What did I say? August 11th. So we're just a month away. So it's just so awesome that now these shows are finally coming. We talked about them for so long, and now it's just like now I'm ready for all these Star Wars movies or these Star Wars shows to start hitting. I'm like, come on, let's go. Let's go.
and I do want to say to Marvel Studios and everybody, congratulations on getting back in the theater. I know Black Widow is your first movie back in the theaters in a long time. It's awesome. It's good to hear. It's cool to see Marvel back. I'm excited for everybody who's really excited to see it. I hope it makes a ton of money and does really, really well. Just because I'm not super excited to see it doesn't mean I wish it bad. I hope it does really well. And I'll see it, and maybe I'll really enjoy it when I see it. I've been wrong about these things before. I did think, Rise of Skywalker is going to be a good movie. And yeah, I wasted that money. But I mean,
by the way, talking about that, did you see that? Did you see that little YouTube clip that I sent you?
No, I'll have to check it out.
Yeah, you have to go back and look at that.
Okay.
But anyways, I guess everybody's just kind of like an MCU hangover. It's like you've waited for so long, and now there's other movies coming out, and you're just kind of like, yeah, I want to see it, but I don't think there's really that excitement that used to be.
I think it's what it is for me, at least, is like I'm excited to see more stuff in the future, but I want new stuff, which is what we're going to be getting. I was happy with the story I got with from Iron Man 1 all the way through Spider-Man Homecoming. I guess you can consider that the end of that phase. I was happy with it. I was satisfied with the way they wrapped it up. Maybe I feel like what they're doing in the future is going to unravel some of that for me because I really, really like that present. That's the box that I never open that sits on the shelf.
Yeah.
I like the way they did that. Of course, there are things here and there that
up and tied in a
nice and maybe that's what it is. I don't want them to mess that up. I like that. Leave that there. Give me some more stories from more people. And that's what they're going to do. Because obviously, hopefully we're going to get F4 in the future. We're going to get X-Men in the future. Give me some of that, She-Hulk, all this stuff coming out. Awesome. I'm excited for that. Maybe that's what it is for me. I just don't want them to ruin that. Like I liked how it ended. Leave it alone. Yeah, leave it alone. Don't retcon anything for me. Leave it alone. Let's move forward and have a good time. And, they have a great track record. No matter what I think going into it, I'm sure they're going to do a great job.
Maybe that's what we feel like with Loki, because now you can kind of see what happened between, kind of like a what if scenario.
That's what this is a what if scenario. It almost feels like what if they'd have come back in time and dropped the Tesseract and Loki would have escaped right then. But it's like, that is what happened. So I don't know.
I don't
Like I
care.
said,
It's more Loki. I want to see more Loki because I'm like I'm still grieving. I'm still grieving.
yeah. Well, Ross says it can be justified just not over chat. So I'm gonna have to get him on the show, or I'm gonna have to give him a call whenever I get down here and be like, dude, explain it to me, because I got to figure it out. But we're gonna figure it out, and I'm sure Brent, all of them, they could probably let me know too. But
Oh yeah, absolutely. But we can still have our opinions.
of course, and I'm gonna think I'm right. I'm a champion that I'm right until the end of time, until I'm proven wrong. So, but that's it. I got nothing else. We were full TV show this week, catching up. I did want to say that next week I might not be. I may not be here. We may still be able to do the show if Nathan, but we'll just get to do the show. That's cool. But I might not be here because I'm going out of town for a week. But I think we're coming back Thursday. So if we end up coming back Thursday, we'll definitely be here. We got to find something to fill the spot of Loki whenever it's gone, because we'll still be doing Bad Batch. I say we go ahead and run with Thundercats, because we were talking about that before.
And I'm working on that. I'm working on
Thundercats. I need to start it. Yeah,
that's one. It's just I'm enjoying it. Don't get me wrong. I'm enjoying it.
This is the 2013 one you're watching, right?
Yes, but I'm just like, I don't know. It's like I said, I'm enjoying it. It's just I grew up with the other one, and so that's why some of it looks kind of like Chitara looks a hell of a lot different than she did, previously, and I'm just like, whoa. But also Lino's father, God, I can't think of his name. That fella is the original voice for Lino. So when you first start listening to it, I'm like, wait a minute. That's Lino, not this one. That's him. So, yeah. So once I get kind of, and then Panthro, I actually messaged Fanboy Clay about this. I'm like, why does he look like Hellboy? He's got like the square jaw, and he's even got the little flipped up ponytail. I'm like, what is going on here? So yeah, I mean, it's interesting. I like it. I mean, Mumra, he looks the same. I mean, there's
how far into it are you?
I'm probably, I think I'm still in season 1, because there's a lot of episodes.
Yeah,
there's a lot of episodes. I'm like, oh my gosh! And I had to go back and watch another one, because I was like, okay, I kind of got lost on that one, because it's one I got to pay attention to, because I think they were telling the story of Groon and Panthro, how all this kind of stuff happened, and then Mumbra throwing all that shit in there. I'm just like, okay, hold on, I got to stop and go back, because I want to hear how this happened.
Right.
So,
well, this is going to be fun for me, because it's going to be almost new. Like, I know that I remember some stuff from Thundercats, but don't really remember a lot. It's something I didn't catch a lot of when I was younger, or I don't remember a lot of when I was younger. So watching the 2013 version is going to be almost like me watching a new show.
Show Steppenwolf. Not right now. I'll show him later.
We can't see Steppenwolf right now. Although Steppenwolf is always cool to look at. Well,
dude, that thing's big.
Is it the Zack Snyder one? It's got to be the Zack Snyder.
Yes, it's probably like the rest of it. It's probably like 12 foot. I mean, not 12 foot, 12 inches.
Like,
I mean,
damn.
it's a big one. It's big.
Well, it should tower over the rest of them.
Yeah. So I mean, it's
to be accurate.
But the cool thing about the Superman though is like when you put him on his little stand, he hovers.
Oh yeah, I remember Nathan. Yeah, when Nathan said in the chat the other day, whenever we had it in there, he's like, "Oh, Nathan, Superman hovers."
Yeah, he hovers. So,
yeah, that's pretty cool.
Yeah,
I like that.
So that's cool.
Good deal.
So
let me know when Batman gets there. I want a picture.
We'll see what Batman looks like. So when Batman gets here, we'll put him up there, and because right now, Brian's got him on one of the shelves in the living room. So he's like, I can't leave him in here. I said, why not? I mean, we got stuff everywhere else. Why not?
Yeah,
I mean, it's fun.
There you go.
But I've got to find a Wonder Woman, because it's just not right not to have her.
These are the Zack Snyder Justice League official.
Yeah, it's the McFarlane DC Multiverse Justice League.
I'll be on the lookout
one.
for you. If I see one, I'll let you know.
But she's not on there, because normally you look in the back of the box and it has everybody listed out. I mean, it's.
So you're saying it's not even made? You don't think?
I don't see it. I'm like, well, that's kind of bullshit. But I mean,
when I get my 3D printer, there will be one.
Well, I'm sure I can probably get like one of the Justice League ones, because I mean, it's basically the same.
Yeah, but then you sully the whole set when you do that.
But damn it, why the hell they don't have her anyways?
No, I agree. I don't know. I mean, they have her, but it's only the Golden Eagle. armor?
Now I've got the Golden Eagle one, but that was from the Wonder Woman 84.
Right. So that's not the Zack Snyder Justice.
So it's not really the same. Yeah. But I mean, I have seen, I guess it's just like the multiverse Wonder Woman.
Hmm.
So we just might have to just insert her in there. So I don't know. Because that's
we
that's
will
bullshit.
find it.
That's
We
just
will
bullshit.
find
I'm like, you can't have everybody but her. That just doesn't make any sense.
No, I agree. It makes no sense to not have her. Yeah.
No, I don't know. But,
Especially when she's like one of the baddest ass characters of the Justice
yeah,
League.
absolutely. Oh my gosh, she can like whoop everybody's ass. I mean, seriously. I mean, she.
Yeah.
Oh, but anyways, what do I know?
I ask myself that all the time.
The only thing is the dark side. He looks weird because the way they have his torso articulated,
Mhm.
it looks like it's. I don't know. It looks weird because everybody else because they're fully articulated. I mean, even the foot, you can bend the foot up.
Oh, that's pretty cool.
Yeah, it's like everything is crazy. But the dark side one just wasn't to me like it was. It just looks weird because everybody else, everything is like camouflaged. But it looks like you got a piece here and it cuts, and then you have like another piece here. It just looks like it slid on top. It's weird.
Do they make like a FaceTime tablet like they had in the movie? The little tablet they did a little FaceTime conversation on, which I thought was crazy, but I guess FaceTime tablet. So.
But I will say Steppenwolf does look good though.
Okay.
He's more matte than metallic, but he still looks good. Has like little spiky things all over. So it's pretty cool.
I like that.
Yeah. And plus I think Brian had got them off of Amazon for like maybe $30-$40. And then when he looked at it the other day, it was up to like 60 or 70. I was like,
a piece or for all of the whole set?
Well, that's just for that one because that's one that's kind of hard to find. So he had ordered it, but then when he was telling me about it and showing me, I said, "You pay $70 for that thing?" He's like, "Hell no." He's like, "Darn, that thing went up." But it's just supply and demand.
Better check the receipts. Just saying. I'll defend him if he paid $70 for it though. I pay a lot of money for stupid shit sometimes.
Oh my God.
So,
yes, absolutely. But it's so worth it.
It's so worth it. This thing is one of the coolest things I ever had. And I'm holding my Mjolnir, by the way, for anybody not watching the show. And my wife will pick on me about this kind of stuff. Like, I wanted to wear my Mandalorian helmet to go laser tag.
Laser tag
the other day. And I'm going to play laser tag on my vacation. And yes, I'm bringing my Mandalorian helmet and I will wear it. But every time I bring something like this out in public, or everybody loves it and compliments it. I'm like, see, you think it's funny, but I just have the balls to walk out in public with it. A lot of people,
it's just like that toy store that's up here in Raleigh. They have it's called I think Cro-Mag Toys. And so if you're ever in Raleigh, check out Cro-Mag Toys because I swear to God, it's like every 80s and 90s kid, especially 80s kids. That is your childhood in there, dude.
Is it original stuff or is it remakes?
Oh, it's original shit.
Yeah. Okay.
It's original shit. That's where I got my Cheetor. I walked in there. I probably dropped about $120 on some stuff, and I was like, I don't even care because this is shit that I want.
Yeah, I don't need to go there with money to spend.
because I found that Cheetor, even though it was a 25-year anniversary one. I finally found my Gambit. It's like one of like one of those Marvel articulated figures. Yeah, I'll show you that. That's my Gambit. I even found I never got any Star Trek toys like figures, but I found like a Lieutenant Tom Paris doll from Voyager in the original packaging, and so he's sitting on my shelf over there too. So I was like,
nice.
I was like, okay, yeah. And it's like they had one wall that had nothing but like He-Man stuff. I can't tell you how many Teelas they had, how many like Man-at-Arms. They had oh my gosh, it was a Merman. They had Clawful. Because I remember this because this is shit I got at my parents' house. Mm-hmm. And then they had like all the She-Ra, they had Catra, they had all because I still have a lot of those dolls. Because they're like little those little figures are probably like maybe 6 inch. They were tiny ones. But I was like, yeah, I got all that. All that.
Oh, I love looking at stuff. Clay told me about that show, The Toys That Made Us. Have you watched that yet on Netflix?
I told you about it.
You told me? Okay, I thought it was Clay that was telling me about it.
Yeah, we were both talking about it.
Okay.
We were both talking about it.
That show is awesome. And I watched the Ninja Turtles one, and it was so cool to watch the Ninja Turtles one and be like, I had that. I had that. I had that. I still have that. That's sitting on my desk. Like from my childhood, I still have these toys. Yeah, that's sitting on my desk right there. Like I loved it. It was so cool. So really, really great show. Check that out. Can't see it.
Exactly. Oh, and speaking of He-Man, have you seen the new trailer for the Masters of the Universe Revelation?
I think didn't we watch it last
They
episode?
had a new one. They've got a new one that came out not too long ago.
Really?
It's like a longer one. Well, we'll have to talk about that next time.
Yeah, definitely. We'll talk about it next time. So
because I don't give two shits if it is the Tila show.
It's starting to look more like it, though, isn't it?
It looks badass.
It does look badass. You're right. It does look badass, but it is starting to look like, and our boy Nathan's right. It looks like it's going to be a mainly Tila show.
I don't have a problem with that.
Which is fine. I agree.
Yeah.
I agree. But
why would you say not? Just say it.
Yeah. Why would you say not otherwise? Yeah. I mean, I've already bought my ticket. Like, I already pay for Netflix. I already love He-Man. I'm going to watch this. Like, you don't have to.
Oh God, yes.
So, but I don't know. It's funny because my daughter was like, "Can you believe this is coming out?" Because she watched Tila, and she loved it. And I was like, "Okay, cool. Well, yeah, let's watch it together."
Like I said, I'm just glad that this, whatever, it's not really a remake. It's more like a continuation. I'm just glad it looks more like that type of animation versus when they redid the She-Ra.
I said Tila, didn't I? She-Ra, yeah, that's what I say.
I don't know why.
I thought I said it wrong. I was like, did I say that wrong? Yeah, She-Ra.
Yeah, first I was like, what are you talking about, man? That's fine.
Yeah.
I was going to let you roll with it.
Let me roll. Yeah.
But it's like the one that they did now, and I know it's probably trying to appeal more to female fans, little girls, that kind of thing. But I'm like, just leave it as it is. There's nothing wrong with it. I don't want to get all this anime looking, not really anime. I don't even know what you call that style animation, but it was just like, that is not Glimmer.
Right.
What? That don't even look like her.
If it's your only knowledge of the character, then you wouldn't have as much of a problem. The problem is we have prior knowledge of the character, so we have in our mind what they look like. So when you change it, it's a little different for us. For like our kids, if it's the first thing they see, that's what it is to them. At least for mine, it is.
Not my children. You're going to learn the originals, and then you're going to go forth from there.
That's what I do. Hey, I made mine watch the Dark Crystal movie when they watched the Dark Crystal show, and they're like, "Oh, this is so great!" And I was like, "Yeah, go back and watch the movie." So you should make kids do that. It's fun.
Yes, absolutely.
Well, Sarah, I got nothing else. We've been chasing squirrels for about 20-30 minutes here, which is fun stuff. That's what we do.
That's what we do, man.
That's what we do. That's right. But yeah, we got nothing else on Loki, nothing else on Bad Batch, no more news. Possible show next week, more than likely if I'm back. I mean, if I'm back, it'll definitely be here. But chance we might not be here next week, but we're going to do our best and try. And we're just going to keep going. I know that we're going to start doing Thundercats soon. Yeah. We started the Dark Knight trilogy, and then we just kind of stopped it. So we've got to pick up on that again.
Yes.
So we got a few things in the future, and then all kinds of new stuff always coming out. He-Man's coming out. What If's coming out.
Transformers stuff coming out.
Transformers coming out. Yeah, there's always content, folks, and there's always going to be stuff for us to cover. We're going to try to keep it new and old.
Reliving our childhood. That's what I love.
That's right.
Even got Snake Eyes.
Yeah.
It's in that Snake Eyes movie. I'm like, oh yes, yes.
I'm telling you, man, they're just redoing everything from my childhood, and for the most part, it's really good stuff.
Yes, absolutely.
Well, Sarah, where can they find you at?
You can pretty much find me on Twitter for the most part at My Little Kitten. You can also find me on the TikTok now. Yeah, I know. Yeah, I kind of found out my 8-year-old daughter has an account. I'm like, since when? So yes, now Mama has to have one. So
that means you can't be on there doing TikTok challenges then. So
I'm already on one of hers, so it's crazy. We got the dogs up there. We got all kinds of stuff. So it's pretty fun, and so it's been a little consuming lately because there's some funny shit on there.
It can be. It definitely can be.
Yeah, I think it's more like the Southern humor. I think that's what's getting me. But
what's funny about TikTok is I've never made a video, never posted anything, never commented on anybody's videos, like anything. Just flip through it and look, right? And for some reason, I have tons of people following me. It's like I have never done anything on here, and I have tons of people following me. I'm like, well, when I say tons of people, I mean like 30 people following me. But it's like 30 people I don't know, and I don't know why they're following me, but whatever. That's the way
I think it was like one. I put one TikTok up of like the dogs on there or something, and it's like My daughter, she's like, Mom, you have like so many likes on this. I'm like, I don't care. It's just that
Awesome.
dog being stupid. I
Ooh.
mean, it's like, what is, because he likes to mouth off at me. I'm like,
Mhm.
who you
Oh, yeah.
talking to?
Yeah.
But anyway, so yes, I've fallen victim to the TikTok.
Everybody does. Don't worry. TikTok's probably the most fun one I think of any that have come out so far, but it gets better as it goes. So, all right, you can find me at the Bat Daddy 52 on Twitter. It's my only form of social media, really. I mean, I guess I have TikTok, but I don't really communicate with people on it. So, and then here every Friday night, 9 p.m. Eastern Standard Time on YouTube live with my friends talking about fun stuff. Nathan should be back next week. I know he's trying to get some little bit of camping in before, he's expecting very soon. So they're trying to get as much done as they can before the new baby comes, which is totally understandable. So, and everybody else will be running through here as well. I think just everybody gets busy, man. But
and that's the thing about it, because what did you say? This is Mark 98.
This is Mark 98. That's right.
And it's 2 more.
That's right. So if we don't do it next week, in about 3 weeks, we're gonna have episode 100. And y'all come check it out. It's gonna be fun. We're gonna try to be fan interactive. I'm gonna try to have a lot of people that have been on the show to come back, even if it's for a little while. I'm gonna have games. I'm gonna have some memory stuff. It's memorable stuff from the show. It's gonna be really fun.
Greg. Gotta have some trivia.
I'll have some trivia. I've been working on stuff.
It can't be the horse shit.
It's going to be softball stuff. Easy peasy stuff. I've been working on stuff for this show as far as videos and pictures and trivia and stuff for about 4 or 5 weeks already now, with the anticipation of it coming up. So I'm preparing a lot of stuff for it. It's going to be a fun time, as always, like we have on here. But definitely come check us out. Thank you for the 100. Thank you to the fans for getting us here. We're going to keep going as long as we can. And, we're getting closer to there. So until next week, number 99, I guess y'all keep pounding.
Yeah. See you guys.
Later, y'all.